Diane Franklin sipped her coffee as the screens in front of her displayed the usual cosmic noise. The night shift at NASA's Deep Space Communications Center was typically quiet. Most people would find it boring to listen to the static of the universe, but Diane loved it. For 8 years, she had searched the stars for any sign that humanity wasn't alone. Tonight was different. At first, she almost missed it, a pattern buried in the noise from a star system 40 light-years away. But there, it was again, a sequence that repeated precisely every 107 seconds. Diane's heart raced as she ran the signal through her filters. The pattern became clearer. This wasn't a pulsar or any known natural phenomenon. This was structured information. Too perfect to be random. She reached for her phone with shaking hands and called her supervisor. "Sir, I think you need to see this. Now." 3 days later, the small observation room was packed with scientists, military personnel, and government officials. Diane's discovery had been verified by every major observatory on Earth. Humanity had received its first message from an alien civilization. Dr. Alan Martinez, the world's leading xenolinguist, stood at the front of the room, pointing at the complex, symbols now displayed on the main screen. "The signal contains clear mathematical sequences followed by what we believe is language," he explained. "We're making progress on the translation, but it will take time." President Natalie Powell leaned forward. "How much time, Doctor?" "Months, possibly longer," Martinez replied, rubbing his tired eyes. But it didn't take months. It took exactly 6 weeks before Dr. Martinez requested an emergency meeting with the President and her National Security Council. "We've done it," he announced, his voice betraying both excitement and worry. "We've translated the message." The room went silent as Martinez displayed the translation on screen. "It's from a civilization calling themselves the Valhari Collective. They're informing us, not asking but informing us, that they claim mining rights to our entire solar system, including Earth. They consider our planet to be under their authority." The Secretary of Defense stood up. "Are they threatening us?" Martinez nodded slowly. "They state that resistance would be pointlessly destructive for a species of our limited development. They've given us 1 Earth year to prepare for their arrival and to agree to their terms." The room erupted in outrage and fear. President Powell raised her hand for silence. "Is there any indication of their technological capabilities?" she asked. Martinez exchanged glances with the NASA director. "The message was transmitted from their ship currently positioned near Jupiter. We didn't even know they were in our solar system until they decided to reveal themselves." Over the following weeks, more messages arrived. Each communication from the Valhari revealed their growing impatience with Earth's delayed response. Their tone was consistently that of a superior being addressing a child. They described Earth as barely space-capable, and humans as a promising but undisciplined species requiring guidance. World leaders debated how to respond. Some nations wanted to surrender to avoid potential destruction. Others called for unified defiance. 6 months after first contact, President Powell called a highly classified meeting with only her closest advisors present. No recording devices were permitted. "What are our real options here?" Powell asked, her face grim in the dim light of the underground situation room. General Frank Miller, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, spoke first. "Conventional military options are useless against an adversary who can cross interstellar distances, Madam President." "So, we surrender?" Powell's voice was sharp with frustration. From the back of the room, a voice spoke up. "Not necessarily. All." Heads turned toward Colonel Eric Blackwood, a man few in the room recognized. He carried a secure tablet and looked far too calm for someone discussing alien invasion. "Who are you?" demanded the Secretary of State. The President nodded. "Colonel Blackwood has a special security clearance." "Please continue, Colonel." Blackwood placed his tablet on the table. "For the past 15 years, we've been aware that something was harvesting resources from the outer planets in our solar system. We detected their ships near Neptune in 2020, but they never approached Earth, so we kept it classified to prevent panic." The room filled with shocked murmurs. "You knew about aliens for 15 years and said nothing?" the vice president asked, incredulously. We didn't know who or what they were, Blackwood explained, but we understood one thing clearly. We were technologically outmatched, so a decision was made. With a swipe of his finger, Blackwood's tablet projected an image that left everyone speechless. It showed an enormous vessel in what appeared to be an underwater construction facility. This is the USS Defiance, it's humanity's first faster-than-light capable warship. President Powell stared at the image. How is this possible? After confirming alien presence in our system, several nations secretly pooled resources and scientists. We reverse-engineered certain technologies from monitoring their distant operations and combined them with our own theoretical advances. The ship has been built in secret beneath the Mariana Trench. Is it operational? Asked General Miller. As of last week, yes, Blackwood said. We accelerated the timeline when the Valhari made contact. The Secretary of Defense looked skeptical. One ship against their entire civilization? Colonel Blackwood smiled. The Valhari don't know we have it. Their messages make it clear they think we're primitive. They believe we're defenseless. Who's commanding this ship? President Powell asked. Commander Lisa Hernandez, naval aviator, physicist, and the best tactical mind we have. She's been training her crew for 3 years. President Powell walked to the window, looking out at the Washington Monument illuminated in the distance. For long minutes, she said, nothing. When she turned back, her decision was made. The Valhari gave us a year to submit. Instead, we'll use that time to prepare. We will not surrender our planet or our rights as a species. She faced Colonel Blackwood. Tell Commander Hernandez to ready her ship. When the Valhari return, they'll learn that Earth isn't as weak as they thought. As the meeting adjourned, Dr. Martinez approached the president with concern on his face. Madam President, even with this ship, we're facing an entire interstellar civilization. The odds are overwhelming. President Powell looked at him steadily. Throughout history, Dr. Martinez, those who underestimated their opponents have often paid the price for their arrogance. The Valhari have made that mistake with humanity. Far below the surface of the Pacific Ocean, Commander Lisa Hernandez walked the gleaming corridors of the most advanced ship ever built by human hands. Her crew of 180 represented the best minds from across the globe. As she reached the bridge, her engineering officer, Lieutenant Kevin Zhao, looked up from his console with a smile. Final systems check complete, Commander. The Defiance is ready. Lisa nodded, touching the ship's bulkhead almost affectionately. They think we're weak, she said quietly. Let's show them how wrong they are. Commander Lisa Hernandez stood in her quarters aboard the USS Defiance, looking at the photo of her family. Her son would be turning 12 next month. She wondered if she would be there to celebrate with him. With a deep breath, she placed the photo in her pocket and headed to the command center. The ship hummed with activity as crew members ran final checks on systems that, until recently, had existed only in theory. The Defiance represented humanity's greatest technological achievement and its best-kept secret. Lieutenant Kevin Zhao was hunched over a console when Lisa entered. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, but his face lit up when he saw her. Commander, you need to see this, he said, waving her over. On his screen was a simulation of the weapon system he had developed. Before joining the Defiance project, Zhao had been a leading researcher in gravitational physics at MIT. Now he had turned his knowledge into something the Valhari wouldn't expect. I've modified the gravitational pulse to create localized distortions, he explained. If their ships use any form of anti-gravity technology, this will disrupt it completely. Lisa studied the simulation. How sure are you that it will work? 90%, Kevin replied. Based on what we've observed of their mining operations on Neptune, Lisa nodded. That's better odds than most of what we're working with. The intercom buzzed. Commander, Colonel Blackwood is aboard. He's requesting to see you immediately. Colonel Blackwood wasn't alone when Lisa arrived in the briefing room. With him was a thin woman with short gray hair whom Lisa recognized immediately. From news broadcasts. Madam President, Lisa said, standing at attention. President Powell smiled. At ease, Commander. I wanted to see this ship for myself before we commit to our course of action. Colonel Blackwood activated the room's secure display. "Commander, you need to be updated on recent developments." The screen showed footage from space telescopes. A massive Valhari ship had entered Earth orbit. "They've arrived 3 months ahead of their stated deadline," President Powell explained, her voice tight. "They're demanding an immediate answer." Lisa studied the alien vessel. It was shaped like a crescent, easily 5 times larger than the largest aircraft carrier on Earth. Its surface gleamed with an iridescent material unlike any metal humans had created. "What's our response going to be?" Lisa asked. President Powell's face hardened. "I'm addressing the United Nations in 6 hours to deliver our answer. We will not submit to their demands. We're prepared to negotiate as equals, but we will not surrender our sovereignty," Colonel Blackwood added. "Intelligence suggests they've sent only 1 ship as a show of force. They're not expecting resistance." "Then we'll have the element of surprise," Lisa said. "But we've never tested the Defiance in actual combat. We don't know if..." She was interrupted by an emergency alert. Dr. Olivia Grant, the ship's science officer, rushed into the room. "The Valhari ship has opened fire on the International Space Station," she reported, her voice shaking. They watched in horror as the footage showed a beam of energy striking the space station. The structure broke apart, debris scattering into the void of space. 12 astronauts were aboard, Colonel Blackwood said, his face ashen. President Powell closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, Lisa saw a cold determination. "This was a demonstration," the president said. "They're showing us what happens if we resist." Lisa felt a surge of anger. "Or they're showing us exactly why we need to." The president nodded. "Commander Hernandez, the Defiance is now officially activated. Your mission is to defend Earth and demonstrate that humanity is not as helpless as they believe." 2 hours later, as panic spread across the globe, the massive underwater doors of the Mariana Trench facility slowly opened. The USS Defiance rose. Through the dark waters, its advanced hull designed to move seamlessly from sea to air to space. On the bridge, Lisa addressed her crew. "What we do today will change the course of human history. The Valhari think they're dealing with a primitive species unable to defend itself. They're about to learn how wrong they are." Jack Winters, the tactical officer, reported from his station. Weapons systems online, shields at full capacity. Beside him, Dr. Olivia Grant monitored sensor readings. The Valhari ship remains in geostationary orbit above the North Atlantic. They appear to be scanning major cities. "They're deciding where to strike next," Lisa said. "Let's introduce ourselves before they do. Navigation, plot intercept course. Engineering, prepare for first FTL jump." The ship rose higher into the atmosphere. Unlike conventional rockets, the Defiance utilized a gravitational drive system that negated the effects of Earth's gravity, allowing it to accelerate without the need for massive fuel consumption. As they reached the edge of space, Lisa gave the command, "Initiate jump." For a brief moment, the stars seemed to stretch before them. Then suddenly, the Defiance appeared directly behind the Valhari vessel. On the Valhari ship, alarms sounded as their sensors detected the sudden appearance of an unknown vessel. Before they could react, the Defiance fired its first shot, a focused, electromagnetic pulse designed to temporarily disrupt their communications. "They're turning to engage," Jack reported, reading energy buildup in what appears to be their weapon systems. Lisa nodded. "Now we see if our shields hold. Brace for impact." The Valhari beam struck the Defiance with tremendous force. The ship shuddered, but remained intact. "Shields at 72%, Jack called out. "Better than we expected." Lisa allowed herself a small smile. "Lieutenant Zhao, let's test your gravitational weapon." Kevin activated the system he had developed. From the Defiance, an invisible wave of distorted space-time shot toward the Valhari ship. When it hit, the effects were immediate. The alien vessel's graceful movements became erratic. Parts of its hull seemed to warp and bend as localized gravity. Fluctuations played havoc with its structure. "Their shield systems are failing," Dr. Grant reported, excitement in her voice. "I'm detecting multiple system failures throughout their ship." Lisa opened a communication channel. "This is Commander Lisa Hernandez of the Earth vessel USS Defiance. Your attack on our space station was an act of war. Surrender your vessel immediately." For several moments there was no response. Then a visual feed appeared on the main screen. The being that appeared was tall and slender, with silver blue skin and large, multifaceted eyes. When it spoke, its words were translated by the ship's computer. "This is impossible," the Valhari commander said. "Your species does not possess this technology." "You underestimated us," Lisa replied simply. "That was your mistake." The Valhari commander's large eyes narrowed. "This changes nothing. The collective will send more ships. Your world will still be ours." Lisa leaned forward. "Before your ship is destroyed, I suggest you transmit all navigational data from your vessel to ours. We want to know exactly where your homeworld is." "You would not dare attack the Valhari collective," the alien commander said, but uncertainty had crept into its voice. "You killed 12 of our people today to prove a point," Lisa said coldly. "Let me prove one in return. Lieutenant Winters, target their propulsion systems." The Defiance fired again, this time with pinpoint precision. The Valhari ship's engines exploded in a brilliant flash of blue light as the crippled vessel drifted. In space, Dr. Grant worked quickly to extract its navigational data. "I've got it, Commander. Coordinates to the Valhari homeworld and their central command station." Lisa nodded. "Prepare to destroy the vessel. The message must be clear. Earth is not weak, and we will defend ourselves." As the Valhari ship exploded into fragments against the blackness of space, Lisa knew that the real battle had only just begun. The mood on Earth was mixed after the destruction of the Valhari ship. Many celebrated the victory, but Lisa knew better. This was only the beginning. The Valhari would send more ships, and next time they wouldn't underestimate humanity. 6 days after the battle, the Defiance hovered in orbit as engineers made repairs and upgrades based on what they had learned from the encounter. In the ship's conference room, Lisa met with her senior officers and Colonel Blackwood. "The President has approved our next mission," Blackwood announced. "We're taking the fight to them." He displayed a holographic map showing the location of the Valhari Central Command Station, extracted from the destroyed ship's navigational data. "It's a bold move," said Jack Winters, rubbing his chin. "We'll be deep in enemy territory." Dr. Olivia Grant pointed to several points on the map. "According to the data, the Valhari have colonized at least 12 star systems. They've been expanding for centuries, always following the same pattern, finding worlds with developing civilizations and subjugating them. And now they've come. For us," Lisa said. "But they weren't expecting a fight." Kevin Zhao spoke up. "I've analyzed their technology from the battle data. Their ships are more advanced than ours in most ways, but their shield technology is surprisingly underdeveloped." "Why would that be?" Lisa asked. "My theory is they've never needed better shields," Kevin explained. "If no one has ever fought back effectively, they wouldn't need to advance their defenses." Colonel Blackwood nodded. "That gives us an advantage. But we need more than just a tactical edge. We need to understand their society, their command structure." "I believe I can help with that," said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Ryan Duncan enter the room. He was the ship's communications specialist, a quiet man who had previously worked for the NSA decoding enemy transmissions. "I've been studying the communications we extracted," Ryan said. "The Valhari operate as a collective, but they're ruled by a council of elders. From what I can tell, they've never experienced a serious military defeat. Their expansion has been unchallenged for so long that resistance isn't something they plan for. That's their weakness," Lisa said. "Arrogance." The plan took shape over the next few days. The Defiance would journey to the Valhari Central Command, not to attack it directly. One ship couldn't defeat an empire, but to gather intelligence and, if possible, disrupt their planned invasion of Earth. The night before their departure, Lisa recorded a message for her son. She didn't know if she would return, but she wanted him to understand why she had to go. "Sometimes being brave means doing things that scare you," she told the camera. "And sometimes protecting the people you love means going very far away to keep danger from reaching them." The next morning, the Defiance disappeared from Earth's orbit in a flash of light, as it engaged its FTL drive. The journey to Valhari space would take 2 weeks, an incredible feat considering the distance, but still plenty of time for the crew to prepare. Lisa used this time to get to know her crew better. Besides Kevin, Jack, Olivia, and Ryan, she spent time with Dr. Maya Williams, the ship's medical officer, who had once been a combat medic before becoming a physician. "I never thought I'd be treating potential alien wounds," Maya joked as she showed Lisa the advanced medical bay. Carlos Diaz, the ship's security chief, had been specially training his team for possible boarding operations or ground missions. His background in special forces made him ideal for this role. "If we need to get inside any Valhari facilities, my team will get it done," he assured Lisa. Laura Bennett, their navigation specialist, worked closely with the ship's AI system to plot the safest course through unfamiliar space. Her calm demeanor hid a brilliant mind that could calculate complex spatial mathematics in her head. "We're entering uncharted territory in more ways than one," Laura told Lisa as they reviewed star charts together. The Defiance dropped out of FTL travel near the edge of Valhari space. They needed to approach cautiously now. Ryan had modified their communication systems to monitor Valhari transmissions without being detected. "I'm picking up a lot of chatter," Ryan reported on their 10th day of careful movement through Valhari territory. "Something big is happening." He listened intently through his headset, his expression growing more concerned. "They're discussing an invasion fleet," he finally said. "For Earth. They're accelerating their plans after losing their first ship." Lisa called an emergency meeting. "How much time do we have?" "Based on the transmissions, they're gathering their fleet now," Ryan answered. "Perhaps 2 weeks before they launch." "We need to move faster," Lisa decided. "But first, we need more intelligence." As they approached a Valhari outpost on a small moon, they made an unexpected discovery. The outpost was using slave labor from another alien species. "They're called the Naraxians," Olivia explained as they observed the outpost from orbit. "According to the data we extracted, they're from a system the Valhari conquered 60 years ago." Lisa watched the tall, four-armed beings being forced to work in what appeared to be a mining operation. "They're doing exactly what they planned to do to Earth." "Commander," Ryan called out suddenly, "I'm intercepting a highly encrypted transmission. It's taking me time to decode, but it appears to be orders for all Valhari ships to gather at their central command." "The invasion planning is moving forward," Lisa said grimly. "We need to act now." Carlos stepped forward. "Commander, let me take a team down to that outpost. We can gather intelligence from the facility and maybe make contact with these Niraxians. If the Valhari have been doing this across multiple systems, there could be many species who would rise up if given the chance." Lisa considered the risk. "It's dangerous, but we need more information. You have 6 hours." Carlos and his team used the Defiance's stealth shuttle to reach the surface undetected. Using specialized equipment developed for the mission, they infiltrated the Valhari facility. They returned 5 hours later with valuable data and 2 Niraxian volunteers. The Niraxians were named Krell and Vox. Through the translation systems, they shared crucial information about Valhari operations and confirmed what the humans suspected. The Valhari had been conquering and exploiting developing worlds for centuries, using their technological superiority to enslave entire species. "No one fights back," Krell explained, his forearms moving in what they learned was an expression of sadness. "It is said to be impossible." "We just proved it isn't," Lisa told him. "We destroyed one of their ships." The Niraxians looked at each other in shock. Vox spoke up. If others knew this was possible, an idea began to form in Lisa's mind. "Ryan, you said their communications network reaches all their conquered worlds?" "Yes, Commander, they use it to maintain control." Lisa smiled. "Then that's our target. Not their ships or weapons, their control of information. If we can show every subjugated world that the Valhari can be defeated." Kevin understood immediately. "We create a revolution." "Exactly," Lisa said. "We don't need to defeat their empire. We just need to inspire others to fight back too." As the Defiance continued its approach toward the Valhari Central Command, Lisa felt a new sense of purpose. They weren't just defending Earth anymore. They were bringing hope to countless worlds that had lived under Valhari oppression. Plot. A course for their central communications hub, she ordered. It's time to send a message that will be heard across the stars. The Defiance moved silently through space, its advanced stealth systems making it nearly invisible to Valhari detection. The closer they got to the central command station, the more Valhari ships they encountered. Lisa ordered the crew to maintain complete communications, silence. On the bridge, the tension was thick. Laura Bennett kept her eyes fixed on the navigation console, making tiny adjustments to their course to avoid detection. Jack Winters monitored the tactical displays, watching. Dozens of Valhari warships moving in formation. They're gathering a massive fleet, Jack whispered. I count over 50 vessels, all larger than the one we faced at Earth. Lisa studied the display. They're preparing for a full-scale invasion, not just a resource grab. Kevin Zhao joined them, his face grim. I've been analyzing their ships' energy signatures. They're all equipped with weapons similar to what we encountered before. If they reach Earth in these numbers, he didn't need to finish. Everyone knew what it meant. Even with the knowledge they had gained from their first encounter, Earth couldn't withstand an attack of this magnitude. Krell, the Niraxian, stood at the back of the bridge. His forearms were crossed in what they had learned was a gesture of deep thought. The central station has a weakness, he said. I worked there as a technical slave for 5 cycles. Lisa turned to him. What kind of weakness? Their communications hub is separated from their defense systems, Krell explained. It must be, to broadcast across so many star systems. The hub has its own power source. Vox, the other Niraxian, added, if you could reach the hub, you could send a message that would reach every world in the Valhari Empire simultaneously. Nothing could stop it from broadcasting. Ryan Duncan looked up from his communications station. I could modify our transmission to include the footage of us defeating their ship at Earth, visual proof that they can be beaten. Lisa felt a spark of hope. This could work. But there was one major problem. We still need to get to the communications hub without being detected. Once we transmit, they'll know we're here. Carlos Diaz had been listening quietly. Now he stepped forward. My team can do it. We infiltrate the station, secure the hub, transmit the message, and extract before they can respond. It's too risky, Lisa argued. The station will be heavily guarded. Carlos smiled. With respect, Commander, this is exactly what my team was trained for. Impossible missions behind enemy lines. After much discussion, a plan took shape. The Defiance would approach the dark side of a moon near the central station. From there, Carlos and his team would use the stealth shuttle to reach the station. Krell would guide them to the communications hub. Meanwhile, the Defiance would move into position to extract them once the message was sent. As Carlos prepared his team, Lisa visited the shuttle bay. She found him checking his equipment one last time. This mission is voluntary, she reminded him. The chances of success are better than Earth's chances if we do nothing, Carlos finished for her. My family came to America as refugees when I was a child. I know what it means to fight for freedom. He nodded toward Krell, who was boarding the shuttle. So do they. The shuttle departed silently, using minimal power to avoid detection. On the bridge, Lisa and the crew could only wait and monitor the situation. Hours passed with no word. Shouldn't they have reached the station by now? Olivia asked, breaking the tense silence. Ryan nodded. Yes, but they're maintaining radio. Silence as planned. We won't hear from them until they're ready to transmit. More time passed. Lisa paced the bridge, checking the chronometer repeatedly. The mission was taking longer than expected. Had something gone wrong? Suddenly, the communications console lit up. Incoming transmission from the shuttle, Ryan announced. Audio only. Carlos's voice came through, distorted but understandable. We're in position. The hub is secure, but we encountered resistance. 2 team members wounded. Krell is connecting. Our systems now stand by for transmission. Lisa felt her heart race. All stations prepare for immediate action. Once they transmit, the Valhari will know we're here. On the central station, Carlos and his team had barricaded themselves in the communications hub. Two of his security officers guarded the main entrance while Krell worked frantically to connect Earth technology to the Valhari systems. How much longer? Carlos asked, helping one of his wounded team members. Almost ready, Krell replied, his four hands working independently on different parts of the system. Their technology is not designed to interface with yours. Outside the sealed doors, they could hear Valhari security forces gathering. It wouldn't be long before they broke through. Vox, who had also joined the mission, called out from his position. At a monitoring station, the Council of Elders is in session. They're addressing ship commanders about the Earth invasion. Carlos smiled grimly. Perfect timing. Back on the Defiance, Ryan prepared the transmission package. It contained footage of the battle near Earth, showing the Defiance destroying the Valhari ship, along with a message translated into all known languages used in the Empire. Transmission ready, Ryan reported. The shuttle reports they're connected to the hub, Laura added. Lisa took a deep breath. Send it. Across thousands of worlds in the Valhari Empire, regular communications suddenly cut out. In their place appeared images of something no one had seen before. A Valhari warship being destroyed by a vessel from a supposedly primitive world. In the council chamber of the central station, the transmission interrupted the Elders' address to their fleet commanders. The Valhari Supreme Commander Zex Kalor watched in shock as the recording played on the massive screen before them. On the Defiance, Lisa ordered, full power to engines and weapons. Move to extraction coordinates. The ship surged forward, dropping its stealth systems as it accelerated toward the central station. Almost immediately, alarms sounded. Multiple Valhari vessels changing course to intercept, Jack warned. Time. To extraction point? Lisa asked. 3 minutes, Laura replied. The shuttle is reporting they're under heavy attack. They can't hold much longer. Lisa made a quick decision. Target the nearest Valhari vessels. Let's give them something else to think about. The Defiance opened fire, its weapons striking with precision. 2 Valhari ships spun out of control as their systems failed under the assault of Kevin's gravitational weapons. On the station, Carlos and his team were pinned down. The doors to the hub were beginning to melt under the Valhari weapons fire. Transmission. Complete, Krell shouted over the noise. Carlos activated his comm. Defiance, transmission successful. We need immediate extraction. Our position is compromised. Fall back to the secondary extraction point, Lisa ordered. We'll meet you there. The team fought their way through the station's corridors, carrying their wounded. Krell led them through service tunnels that most Valhari didn't know existed. Behind them, alarms blared as the station went into full alert. Outside, the Defiance battled through Valhari ships, creating a path to the extraction point. Kevin's weapons proved devastatingly effective against the unprepared Valhari vessels. Still, they were outnumbered 20-1. Hull integrity at 82%, Jack reported as another Valhari beam struck the ship. We can't take much more of this. We're not leaving without our people, Lisa said firmly. Continue approach to extraction point. As the Defiance neared the station, they spotted the shuttle emerging from a maintenance airlock, pursued by Valhari fighters. Cover them, Lisa ordered. The Defiance positioned itself between the shuttle and its pursuers, taking hits meant for the smaller vessel. The shuttle limped toward the Defiance's open bay. Shuttle is aboard, Maya reported from the medical bay, where she was preparing to receive casualties. All team members accounted for. Get us out of here, Lisa ordered. Maximum FTL as soon as we're clear. As the Defiance turned to escape, Lisa looked at the tactical display. All across the Valhari Empire, according to the signals they were intercepting, confusion was spreading. Their transmission had reached its targets. The revolution had begun. The Defiance jumped to FTL speed just as 3 more Valhari warships closed in. The ship shuddered as it tore through space, leaving the central command station behind. Lisa ordered damage reports from all sections. They had taken multiple hits during the rescue operation. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 5, Jack reported. Emergency bulkheads engaged. We've lost one of the secondary power relays. Kevin looked up from his engineering station. The main drive is stable, but we can't maintain this speed for long. We need to make repairs. Lisa nodded. Find us somewhere to hide. A nebula, an asteroid field, anywhere we can power down and fix what we can. Laura studied her charts. There's an uninhabited system about 2 hours from here. Dense asteroid belt we could use for cover. Set course, Lisa ordered. Then she turned to Maya, who had just arrived on the bridge. How are our people? 2 with serious injuries, but they'll recover, Maya answered. Carlos has a broken arm, and some burns. Krell was hit by some kind of energy weapon, but his physiology is different enough that it didn't do as much damage as it would have to a human. Lisa felt relief wash over her. They had completed their mission and gotten her people back alive. But the battle was far from over. What about the broadcast? She asked Ryan. Any way to know if it worked? Ryan smiled tiredly. It worked. Before. We jumped. I was monitoring communications across the Valhari network. There's chaos everywhere. Reports of uprisings on at least 6 worlds already. 2 hours later, the Defiance hid among the asteroids of the uninhabited system. Repair crews worked to fix the damage while Lisa met with her officers and their Naraxian allies in the conference room. The Valhari will be looking for us, Carlos said, his arm now in a cast. And they'll send ships to Earth as soon as they regroup. Not immediately, Krell disagreed. The Council of Elders must deal with the rebellions first. It is their greatest fear, losing control of their empire. Vox nodded. My people have waited 60 years for this moment. The Naraxians will fight. Others will too. Lisa studied the star chart showing their position relative to Earth. Even if we left now, we couldn't beat their fleet back to Earth. We need another plan. For hours, they debated options. They could try to sabotage the Valhari fleet, or warn Earth to prepare for invasion, or even attempt to rally the rebellious worlds into a united force. None seemed likely to succeed in time. As the discussion continued, Ryan suddenly looked up from his tablet. Commander, I'm picking up a transmission. It's directed specifically at us. How is that possible? Lisa asked. No one knows our location. It's being broadcast across all frequencies, Ryan explained. They're hoping we'll hear it wherever we are. Put it through, Lisa ordered. The voice that came through the speakers was translated by their systems, but the tone was unmistakable, cold and angry. To the Earth vessel that has attacked the Valhari Collective. This is Supreme Commander Zex Kalor. Your actions have caused harm to the stability of numerous worlds. Billions may die in the chaos you have unleashed. I demand parley under the ancient laws of space. Meet me at the coordinates being transmitted with this message. Come alone or face the consequences of refusing honorable combat. The message ended, leaving a heavy silence in the room. It's a trap, Jack said immediately. Of course it is, Lisa agreed. But it's also an opportunity. Kevin looked concerned. You're not actually considering meeting the Supreme Commander? Lisa stood up and walked to the viewport, looking out at the asteroid field around them. We've shown the galaxy that the Valhari can be defeated, but they still have the most powerful fleet in known space. If they reach Earth... She turned back, to face her crew. This Supreme Commander is offering single combat. 1 ship against 1 ship. If I defeat him, it would be another powerful symbol, and it might buy Earth more time. And if you lose? Olivia asked quietly. Then we tried everything. We could? Lisa answered. After much debate, the decision was made. The Defiance would meet Zex Kalor's ship at the designated coordinates, a remote area of space far from any worlds or major fleet movements. But they wouldn't go unprepared. For the next day, Kevin and his engineering team worked non-stop, implementing every upgrade and modification they had learned from their previous encounters with Valhari technology. The Naraxians provided valuable insights about weaknesses in Valhari ship design that only slaves working on their vessels would know. As they approached the meeting point, Lisa gathered her crew one last time. No matter what happens today, what we've done matters, she told them. We've shown that Earth is not weak. We've given hope to species that had none. Even if we don't make it home, Others will continue what we started. The Defiance dropped out of FTL at the exact coordinates provided. Waiting for them was a single Valhari vessel, much larger than the one they had faced at Earth. Its crescent shape gleamed against the backdrop of distant stars. "They're hailing us," Ryan reported. On the screen appeared the Supreme Commander of the Valhari forces. Zexkalor was taller than the other Valhari they had seen, with elaborate markings on his silver-blue skin that seemed to indicate high rank. "Commander Hernandez," he said, his multi-faceted eyes studying her. "You have caused me great difficulty." "That was the point," Lisa replied calmly. "For thousands of years, the Valhari Collective has brought order to the galaxy," Zexkalor continued. "We guide primitive species toward useful purpose. Without us, there is only chaos." "You mean slavery," Lisa countered. "You don't guide, you conquer and exploit." Zexkalor made a dismissive gesture. "Your species is too young to understand the complexities of galactic civilization, but you have proven yourselves dangerous, like children with weapons." "We've proven that we won't be conquered," Lisa corrected him. "And neither will the other worlds you've subjugated. You made a mistake when you threatened Earth. You thought we were weak." For a moment, the Supreme Commander was silent. Then, "Perhaps, but now we will correct that mistake. Prepare your vessel for combat." The transmission ended. Immediately, the Valhari ship began powering its weapons. "All stations, battle positions," Lisa ordered. What followed was the most intense battle the Defiance had yet faced. The Valhari flagship was more maneuverable than they had expected, and its weapons were devastating. But the Defiance had advantages of its own. The element of surprise was still on their side. The Valhari continued to underestimate what humans were capable of. Kevin's gravitational weapons once again proved effective, but the Supreme Commander's ship had better shielding than previous vessels. The battle raged for nearly an hour, both ships taking heavy damage. "Hull integrity at 47%, Jack reported after a particularly brutal hit. "One more like that and we're finished." Lisa studied the tactical display. The Valhari ship was also showing signs of damage. "Their port shield generator is failing," she noticed. "If we can hit them there." She made her decision. "All power to forward weapons. Target their port section. Kevin, maximum charge on the gravitational pulse." "That'll drain our reserves completely," Kevin warned. "We'll have nothing left after this shot." "Then we'd better make it count," Lisa said. The Defiance surged forward, taking another hit as it closed distance with the Valhari flagship. At point-blank range, they fired everything they had. The gravitational weapon tore through the weakened shields of the larger vessel, causing catastrophic damage. The Valhari ship drifted. Its main power failed. Lisa opened a communication channel. "Supreme Commander, your ship is crippled. Surrender now." Zexkalor appeared on screen, his command center filled with smoke and damaged equipment. "You have not won," he said bitterly. "The Collective will still destroy your world." "Look around you," Lisa told him. "Your empire is already falling apart. The species you enslaved are rising up everywhere. It's over." She offered terms. Earth would be recognized as sovereign territory, off limits to Valhari exploitation. All subjugated worlds would be granted independence. In return, humanity would share some of its technological innovations, not weapons, but medical and agricultural advances that could benefit all species. In the end, facing rebellion across their empire and the shocking defeat of their Supreme Commander, the Valhari Council of Elders accepted the terms. The age of Valhari domination was over. 3 months later, the Defiance returned to Earth orbit. A changed galaxy awaited humanity's next steps. And as Lisa looked down at the blue planet below, she knew that the universe would never again mistake Earth for being weak.